wasn't any customs as such in Shanghai. So I went out, got his bag, brought it to the loo, outside the loo door, and told him, "Mate, your bag is just out here." And do you know, he never came to thank me. No, sorry about that. Go on.
It's fine. When you were in the RAF, did you see your fair share of injuries? Or?
There wasn't a war on in Eden. We were really there showing the flag. And in fact, after we left, there was a bit of skirmish out there. After I left, there was a bit of a skirmish out there. We went out to Singapore, and the trouble that was going on was in Hong Kong, and there was another small island just outside Singapore where there was some problems, but there's never any problems where I was, ever. So I didn't see any fighting as such. I did send back Casabacks, which are people who are ill and sick, you know, or injured in some way, and attended to them so that they could go back on the aircraft. But that was what I did, because I had passengers and freight, you know.
Fair enough. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I'm in the centre of about, I was rather, when I was a kid. I was in the centre of about 19 children. But I lived on my own with my grandmother, because my father had 5 kids. My stepfather had something like 9 kids. And my mother, when she went out to Curacao, had a couple more. So there were loads of kids around me, but I was brought up as an only child with my grandmother.
Do you still see them or have any contact with them?
Very little, very little. In fact, I went out to Curacao because I consider my mother's other son and daughter my brother and sister. Everybody else I consider half brothers and sisters, you know, one removed. So, in fact, I went out to Curacao to see my sister, and that was after 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, is this sister older or younger than you?
Younger. I'm the eldest of my father's children and my mother's children, though my stepfather had other children before me.
How long have you been in England?
I came to England in 1958.
Fair enough. Is the English weather a bit colder than what you would expect in the Caribbean?
It is a lot colder than the Caribbean. The Caribbean is hot. However, as I said, I was brought up by my grandmother, and my grandmother had lived in New York for years. So there were very few surprises for me in the life.
Fair enough. Have you ever been to New York?
Never.
Would you like to go?
No. Yeah, and the point is, at the time there was a lot of racial tension in the United States, and because of that I had a choice of either going to New York or coming to England. My choice was to come to England rather than go to New York.
Fair enough. Sometimes do you imagine what it'd be like if you had gone to New York?
Oh, no, I've never stopped to think of it, because it has never been something that I wanted to do. You know, things may be better in New York now than they were, but discrimination was rife in the States when I was young.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't really find that people discriminating others is a very acceptable thing, if you ask me.
Well, obviously, I agree with you.
If they wish to do it, then so be it, but you shouldn't really get others involved with it, you know what I mean?
You know, I've lived through things like Martin, well, people like Martin Luther King and things of the sort, because there were some horrific stories before that and during his lifetime. I don't know whether you were told or whether I mentioned it earlier, but I used to be head of, chair of the Black History Group here in Swindon.
Yeah. Do you mind elaborating on it? Does it do anything other than music?